Hey guys, it's David, and the purpose of this channel is to document my journey going into remote sales and just being able to put myself out there on the line, add value, help another soul or two. I'm happy to do so and look back at where I started, just be grateful where I'm coming from. Never forget that. A little bit about myself and what I've achieved so far in my short journey. I started as an agency owner and I did that for about 8 months. Throughout those 8 months, I just quickly realized that the thing I love about business is connecting with people, is changing lives, being in the moment, helping someone like go through all the hurdles, the limiting beliefs, the challenges, all of that sort of stuff, like reframing the mindset from resources to resourcefulness, money, time, like all this stuff that average human being can struggle with and face on their own. You're not alone. Just remember that. And I wanted to be that person who brings someone to the light. I just became obsessed with, the mindset, reframes, being able to lead. And I just realized that sales, guys, that sales. I wanted to go full time into learning sales, and the best way to do it is through, going into coaching programs, mentorships, and that sort of stuff. So I did a 1-to-1 90-day coaching program to first of all excel in sales and land my first gig. 2 weeks into that program, I went through 6 interviews and landed my first gig. I chose to work with a startup SaaS company at that time, and that was a really good decision for me. It took about 12 months from no sales experience, just given a list, a script, and what the funny thing is that the closer drafted up a script for me live, so it never was tested. It was never a part of the process. Like we just did it on the spot. And as long as we go through with certainty and confidence, we can make something very, very believable. But that was the mindset back then. So I was given a script, drafted up for me live. I did 14 hours as an SDR, just dialing in the trenches, because I knew, in order for me to get good, I needed more repetitions, I needed more volume, I needed more activity. So I just dialed until my fingers bled. But that was the fun times. That was the absolute fun times for me starting off as an SDR. As a new rep, I kind of like had to circle back to the lab and optimize and change the script, because I remember in one day I was getting 3, F off, those kind of calls. So I had to, change the wording back in the lab. 2.5, 3 weeks into the gig, I was actually asked to take a trip to Ukraine. Before the war, this was in 2021. Before the war, I was asked to visit their headquarters in Ukraine, and I was still at my trial period at the time. It was a 3-month trial period, and it was Team Culture Week. I decided not to go because of logistics and all the Mitch and Maxes of it. I just didn't want to deal with it. I wanted to, just tunnel vision, schedule calls, make sure they show up. And that was my routine, day in, day out. Sun up, sun down, schedule calls, and make sure they show up. Send out content, make sure they're nurtured for that call. You set up everything around that call to make sure they are totally prepped to have that strategy call with a closer. And fast tracking all the way to 2 months in, I passed my trial period. Instead of 3 months, I passed it in 2, which was a good sign. And I was invited to be an SDR, which I accepted in their second company. It was a marketing agency specializing in storytelling, helping coaches, consultants, experts, and authors tell a story that comes across as authentic and reflects the values of the expert, which was an absolute awesome gig. absolute awesome gig. And I just slowly progressed to closing low ticket, $150, $250, $500, to later on the high ticket stuff, 1,000, 20, 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, and all of these deals was attached to a 12-month software contract that added another loop in the close and the process. While doing all of that in 2021, I kind of like had to systematize the process as well. As I was moving up to closing more high ticket, I had to systematize the process of 2 SDRs so that I can move up. And that was just to match the output. Fast tracking even more to 2022, things really started to fall in place for me. I started NEPQ 3.0. Before the year I did 2.0, but I started 3.0, and all the puzzles, all the pieces of the puzzles just started to like fall in place. I had my first 7,000 commission month, which as a 20-year-old is, it's bonkers. It's absolutely nuts. My parents actually approached me at that time and asked me if I was selling drugs. And that was quite an experience to have, and you just need to say, well, I'm doing business, we're doing great, and then get the thumbs up, and then you move on. But at that time, the company is still a startup. We didn't really have a sales process. We're still rather clueless how we bring people through, how we make sales. We started to change stuff every single quarter. We made decisions that wasn't based on data. We made decisions that was, that had no background and rationale behind doing these, things. So we started to pull a lot of different tricks that in the long run didn't work, that, that just started to collapse. But we never really had a sales process. We kind of like had sales guys investing in their own training. Some did, some didn't, and we were running our own processes. I did a 50-minute triage, 45-minute close. Some guys did 30-minute, 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 15. It was just all over the place. And I just felt we did it for too long. We did it for too long as sales guys, just going in there, swinging our battle axes, because we never really had a sales manager. We never really had a sales manager, which is bonkers for me now. It's absolutely, there's no nuts and bolts into the sales department. And I just decided, I just wanted to move on. I left the crew last month, and now I'm looking for new challenges. I'm looking for a new offer, new company, new product and service that I can stand 1,000% behind, and just crush it with them. Just leverage a group dynamic, get better, lift up the low performing sales reps. I love all that stuff. Work ethic, resilience. Even though we're going down, we're swinging our battle axes. Swing it till the fences. That's the work ethic. That's the resilience that I'm familiar with. That's the culture that I've grew up in. So that's sort of like where I'm at. I'm joining with a mastermind. I did that 11 days ago, and it's all about referrals. It's all about networking. It's all about getting a foot in the door to be referred to opportunities that aren't even getting out there into the job market, which is application and recruiters, for example. So I've starting that 11 days in. I've got about 7 referrals so far, and it's just going great. It's just going great. I've got 6 offers. I got a lot of opportunities to come in and crush it, and I'm just being super, super clear in where I'm selecting and where I'm putting my toes in. But one thing I want to leave you guys with is, imagine a whiteboard, and there's 4,000 small dots on that whiteboard. One of these dots represents a week in your lifetime since birth. And every single week that passes by, you need to erase, just rub off a dot and decide where you've invested that week. Are you doing everything you can throughout the week to live your dream lifestyle? Are you, putting that week towards someone else's vision and goals? Or are you, putting that week towards like a vision you enrolled yourself to believe in because of your environment? Where are you putting in that week? I really want you to think about that, because it has really struck urgency in what I'm doing and just being intentional about, about life. I feel way more at peace, showing up with abundant energy. Just be more intentional. Just step back and think about that. Like, where are you putting in that week? And let me know in the comments, like, if that analogy is even helping in the first place. It just helped me, because I'm just realizing that my 3-year goal is achievable within the next 4 months. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to achieve that goal. I might share it in a different video on how I came up with that goal and how I'm aligning myself with values, beliefs, and goals and principles and passion, because all of that is about congruency, living in alignment, living on purpose, being more intentional in life. But this is the first video. This is where I'm at. This is how I started, what I've achieved since. And I look forward to hear from you guys. And ciao for now.